people think that carbonara it's difficult. It's actually very simple to make. The only trouble of carbonara is that once you have all the ingredients ready and everything is ready, you have to be ready also with the table, in the sense that you can't just prepare it and then reheat it. You can't make it and then wait to sit at the table. So we have to make it and then have it. So, but I wanted to make it more challenging by showing you two versions of the same recipe, a professional one and like a home style one. So we will start by the, let's say, the most simple one, that it's the homemade, the home style, and then we will get to the professional, and Gianluca, my boyfriend, should help me with that, because he's the master in the professional version of the carbonara. He's a bit shy, but
Hello.
This is my boyfriend Gianluca, and as I said, he's going to help us make the professional version. It's not pancetta, because pancetta is actually the belly of this cut, and it's much drier. So this is I can't share the texture, but this is a lot of fat. As you can see, it's mostly white and less meat, let's say, because this part is from the cheek, so from another part of the pork. So we will start by simply cutting the bacon. Lo faccio in tre. So we're making, let's say, stripes first and then smaller pieces. Yeah. So important is that they mostly are of the same size, more or less. Because then when we get to cook them like this, we don't have pieces that are overcooked, and we don't have others that are not cooked enough. If you're using this kind of bacon with a lot of fat, there's no need to place any oil in the pan. And contrary to a lot of recipes of carbonara, we don't use any garlic or onion. In the traditional one, there's no garlic or onion involved. There's only the bacon. Now, into your bowl, the home style recipe, you simply break in your eggs. So for carbonara, especially, that is, involving quite a lot of eggs, it's always best if you can find them fresh. So not supermarket ones, but if you have a farmer or someone that can sell you fresh eggs, it will be the best. So then I'm putting straight into the eggs the black pepper. So the black pepper has to be generous. Don't worry too much about putting too much, because in the end, all the flavor will be mixed in. So you won't taste this strong taste of the pepper too much. But some say that the name carbonara comes from the Italian word carbone, that means coal. And some say, if you make a research on the internet, that this may also refer to the fact that there's a lot of black pepper, and so it's dark like coal, and so carbonara. Actually, so after you put your pepper, we'll start mixing the eggs. We're adding just a tiny pinch of salt. It's only really a little bit, just to give it a little bit of saltiness, but don't put too much, because we have the cheese, which is salty, and then we have also the bacon that it's quite salty. So don't put too much, or it will be too salty in the end. So last step for the eggs, it's to put the Parmesan. We can leave a few spoons, and really literally, I mean few tablespoons of Parmesan to add later, but most of it goes in now. And then, so once it's in the eggs, you keep mixing. Say this will be the main difference of the home style one and the professional one. Okay, you can see it's very liquid.
Yeah.
Okay. But again, the difference will be not only of texture now, but it will be slightly different also in the texture at the end, because the other recipe, as you could see from my ingredient list, does involve eggs as well, but part of the eggs are only yolks, and so this of course makes a difference into the final result. So, the kind of pasta you can use, usually the traditional recipe asks for rigatoni. That is the short pasta, quite large. It's like the penne, but they don't have the classic shape of penne. The edges are straight and they're a little large, long like this and large. Those are the one that would be ideal. But then any short pasta that you like, penne are okay. But also some people like myself, I like also spaghetti, so long pasta, but this really depends on your taste. If you want to make it very traditional, accurate, then rigatoni would be the choice for the traditional recipe. So getting to the cooking, you would do this. So you have your pasta to boil, water to boil, sorry, and when it's boiling, you can put your pasta to cook. So the pasta has to be al dente because the last step of this recipe will be cooking it with the sauce. So about these ingredients, you put the bacon into the pan, again, without oil if you're using the very fat one, and you let the bacon cook. So the bacon has to, doesn't have to become too dry because you don't want that taste of that very dry and burnt taste of the bacon. The bacon still has to stay soft. So you have to see it change color, especially this kind of bacon where you have the fat, it will become transparent. So once you have a bit of the grease, let's say, of the fat melted, and you see that all the bacon, it's cooked enough, you can turn off the fire and wait for your pasta to be ready. Once the pasta is ready, you drain, and I always suggest to keep, let's say, a cup of the water where the pasta is being boiling. This is very, very important, okay? So you drain the pasta. Before to do that, you save a cup of the water with the starch and you put it aside. This is the vital part. You turn on the heat again on a low fire. You put your pasta in and you mix the pasta with your bacon. So the pasta is already dressing with the bacon. And then only after that, after you made sure that all the pasta is let's say, soaking in the grease and in the bacon, you can put the eggs and the Parmesan, okay? You put the eggs and Parmesan, but now it's the time to turn off the heat. So no heat. It will be the heat of the pasta that will help you to have this mixture creamier, okay? So once again, you have the pasta ready, save a cup, and now I'll tell you why, the cup of water. You put the pasta to dress with the bacon and dress into the grease of the bacon. And after that, you turn off the fire and put the cream. At this stage, you have to make sure that these eggs and Parmesan becomes creamy. And to help that process, you also might need a bit of the water where the pasta has been cooking. And we specifically use that because it has starch inside. And the starch is a really great help to make one sauce, either this or any other kind of sauce, creamier, and it also sticks better to our pasta. So I hope everything is clear. Anyway, we'll show you at the end. The professional one, it's more, let's say, complicated as usual because it's a professional version. So I will let you follow it, but if you want to do it with us, a dish with a piece of paper or a kitchen paper ready on the side. Okay, prego. He does cut the bacon, the full slice, as you could see, he cut it in only in half, and then he's cutting thin slices. So the final size of this piece is a bit, it's a little bigger, as you can see. And yeah, so he's saying that it's important to wait the heating of the pan, because the important part of this guanciale, of the cheek, it's the fat, and it's the fat that is going to give most of the taste to this version of the carbonara. And you will see that it's really interesting proceeding. When the bacon becomes golden, so it's a bit, let's say, fried on the outside, you can turn off the fire, okay? And now this has to sit to cool down a little bit. So to give you, sorry, scusa, to give you an idea, this is the color. Can you see it?
Yeah.
So it's not too cooked, and as you can see, there's quite a good quantity of oil, of fat. Sorry, can you see it on the side here?
Yeah.
So this is it's a very substantial difference with normal bacon. Now, this is as I mentioned before, the extra step. You're taking the bacon off from the oil, and you place it on your paper or kitchen paper, because we need the fat to stay in the pan, because we will need it later for our pasta. But the bacon now has to stay on a paper and dry out, basically. So this is how we're letting it sit, okay, for the moment. Leave the fat here so we don't throw it away, absolutely. We use half in an extra little cup if you have it. And the other half actually stays in the pan. So now you split the yolk with the white. So as you can see, he's putting the white on a separate bowl because we're not using all of them. We are 3, so we're using 2 yolks and 1 full egg, okay? So we're adding the Parmesan, but only of the quantity that you have prepared, it's only 3 spoons and a half. And of course, again, the black pepper. And you can start mixing everything together. You have to mix this very well. And here as well, just a pinch of salt, but really little, just a little bit. So this, as a difference from before, as you can see, this is much more dense. Can you see?
Yeah.
It's not as liquid as the other one that we made. And also, this later, when we have to use it and to make the cream, will actually become a cream. So it's not like the first version that I showed you that you mix everything together at the end. This will actually become a cream before we put it with our pasta. Anyway, I don't spoil any of the next steps. Promo ad introduction to a local winery. So we collaborate with a winery that it's not far from here, from where I live, and also go every week, even more than once a week sometimes, because they're some of the few that locally do lunch or anyway dinner with wine pairing. And they have their own farm, so they grow their wine. They have interesting blending. There are Tuscan grapes and foreign grapes. And also they have their own farm, so they grow their vegetables, and they also hunt for their meat. So it's actually a special place. Let people know that if you want, you can have their wine shipped at home. And they ship in Europe, and I will tell you more about the shipping, because it's a reasonable price, especially if you gather an order with friends. We have a promo code, and if the shipping thing is not clear, I will explain it to you. But now, because the pasta is cooking and the water is boiling, we pour the half of that fat that we put aside into our eggs, okay? Mm-hmm. And then, of course, you mix. And already you can see a slight change of consistency in the sense that it's more and more creamier, especially with this. Okay. So now we kind of do we kind of do a Bain Marie with this. Sì. So you place the bowl with the preparation onto the boiling water of where your pasta is cooking, and you keep stirring. Don't stop stirring because otherwise the egg will cook. Okay, so it's really a moment. This stage, so you don't have to do it for too long. You see, he's already come off the water. Valerie, you let me know if you need help. Okay. So it's only to make sure that basically it becomes creamier in the sense that in this passage, it's sure that all the ingredients melt together. But it doesn't have to stay for too long, okay? Okay, and then as you can see, Gianluca is keep stirring it because you have to wait for the bottom of the bowl to cool down. Otherwise, if you let it stay, the eggs will cook. So as you can see now, it's creamy and it's uniform. So it's really only cream. You don't see any pieces of Parmesan or anything. So this passage again mainly serves to melt all the ingredients together, and it's a very quick passage. So you do it a little bit on the water, and then you take it off and keep stirring until it cools down. So Gianluca, as you can see, he's putting and saving, as I told you before, some of the water where the pasta is boiling, and he's using the same little cup of the fat so that we don't waste anything, literally, not even a drop of the fat. So for a little resume, you should have your bacon that is sitting on the paper. You should have a little bit of the water where the pasta has been cooking into the little pot where you had the grease before. You should have still a little bit of Parmesan aside and the cream. Now, the pasta, as you can see, goes straight into the pan where the bacon has been cooking before, where we left half of the fat. We turn on the flame, low flame, and we mix. So as you all know, pasta, when it's made, when it's cooked, you have to mix it in a sauce straight away, otherwise it becomes very gluey. As soon as you see that the pan is getting dry because the pasta has absorbed all the liquid part, so all the fat, you add a little bit of the water, okay? Just to keep having a moistured pasta. So you add the egg cream. You turn off and you move the pan from the heat, and you mix. Because in this case, the pan is very hot, so we don't need the flame anymore. So you add a little bit of Parmesan. Okay. So this part has to be quick because we don't want the cream to cook. It has to stay creamy. And this goes on top at the end. So it's incredible how the taste of the bacon in this way, in this professional way, does make a difference. And so this is how you see it at the end. So it's impossible to show you the consistency, but in a similar way, the other one, it's the same. The only difference is that it's less elaborated. So when it's ready, everyone has to be sitting already at the table. You serve it. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Bye. Bye.
Bye. Ciao, everyone. Ciao. Enjoy. Buon appetito. Ciao, Mieke.
Bye. We will try now.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And buon appetito to everyone. Ciao. Ciao.
And so enthusiastic. That's why I thought this would be a nice experience, nice to do. And that's why I'm here. It's really nice to meet you.
Same. Very, very welcome, really. And I hope Mieke did say good things about us.
Of course she did.
I'm happy to hear that, and welcome. Joe, do you want to say something? Or
Yeah. So Lau shared it a few weeks ago, and I love food, and it sounded right on my street. I was supposed to be in Italy as well this week, so it just kind of came. I was like, if I can't be there, I'd like to eat good food.
That's a good deal. I think it's a good idea, and I'm sorry you had to cancel your trip.
It's been delayed. I'll come eventually.
Okay, yes, you'll make it. You'll make it. Natasha, do you want to say something? Or
we're really looking forward for the second cooking lesson with you, and for the person who haven't met us, we are from the Netherlands, from The Hague. This is Valerie.
Yeah,
and Natasha.
Yeah.
Yes, sorry, Valerie. I actually called you Natasha, but
okay.
I'm still making a mess with names. But
That's okay.
Okay, and then the last one, but not least, is Mieke, who's again Sonia's friend. And Mieke, if you want to say something to Joe, basically because you've already met Natasha and Valerie at the previous cooking, and then you know Sonia because of course it's your friend.
It's a very, very nice idea to do some cooking all together. I'm glad you did already several times some reunions, so I think we can rehearse this much more, and that we can still organize this also when Corona is finished. So and I hope to meet you all one time in the village. And it would be a nice idea. I just told to Sonia's daughter that it would be a nice idea to go there, to travel to Irene's place one time in the summer and stay there a couple of weeks. Would be wonderful.